going on, everybody? I go by the name of Kari, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Sneaker Fetish. Today, before we even take a look at the shoe or shoes that we're taking a look at, I actually want to tell you guys a bit of a story. We're going to actually go a little bit backwards with this one because you guys need to understand the history of what and who we're talking about today in order to really appreciate the products that we're looking at. So today, as you guys see, we have a very large, very special edition, very limited package from Roger Federer, the highly acclaimed tennis player, and Ronnie Fike for Kith. Let's get into it. First things first, Roger Federer. Let's get directly into it. Who in the world is he? And if you've been underneath a rock, let me educate you just a little bit. Roger Federer is quite possibly one of the greatest tennis players in history. I know a lot of people call Serena Williams the GOAT. I find myself calling Serena Williams the GOAT when it comes to tennis. But if Serena Williams is the GOAT, Roger Federer must be whatever a smaller version of a GOAT is. But he's right up there with Serena Williams. The man has so many achievements, I have to read them off. Ranked number 1 in the world by the Association of Tennis Professionals for 310 weeks, 237 of those weeks, which were consecutive weeks. He's won 103 ATP singles titles, the second most of all time, including 20 Grand Slam singles titles, a record 8 men's singles at Wimbledon, an open era record tying 5 men's singles in the US Open titles, and 6 tour finals, which is also a record. This man is a record-setting and breaking machine when it comes to tennis. And what's crazy about that is that his specific brand of tennis is actually more docile. It's actually a bit more fluid. Ronnie Fike actually said that he reminds him of James Bond when he's playing on the court, the way that he moves with such precision. He's not one of the loudmouth guys like John McEnroe or some of the other people that played tennis back in the day that they themselves were rock stars in their own right. Roger Federer did it a lot more quietly. He would just come onto the court, absolutely dominate, walk off the court while waving to everybody. It's really kind of mesmerizing watching Roger play. Now, for those of you guys who may now realize that the name is starting a little bit familiar, let me dig a little bit deeper into his time in the sneaker world. Roger Federer actually had an episode of Sneaker Shopping where he talked to Joe LaPuma about how he grew up in Switzerland. He's originally from Switzerland, and how Michael Jordan was actually one of his heroes growing up. So when he had the opportunity to sign a deal with Jordan Brand, I believe he was making like $10 million a year. It was like a dream come true for him. Through that partnership with Nike, he actually was able to make a few different iterations of his own Jordan branded collaboration shoe made for tennis, which was the Roger Federer Zoom Vapor. Now, that shoe was more appropriately called the Zoom Vapor AJ3 because it took on the classic iterations of the white cement, black cement, and fire red Air Jordan 3 and literally looked like it kind of stretched the shoe out to look more like a tennis shoe and to be more functional as a tennis shoe while still kind of giving us the spirit of the Air Jordan 3. It was kind of a dream collaboration for Roger Federer. He actually met Michael Jordan himself. They actually spoke a bit on camera. Michael Jordan actually attended, I believe it was Wimbledon, when he just literally dominated when Michael Jordan was in the building that game as well. So really exciting to watch. I would advise you guys to catch the clips of Michael Jordan being at Wimbledon and watching Roger Federer play if you haven't seen it. It's really dope stuff. This box is starting to get a little bit heavy, so let me hurry up a little bit. So Roger Federer ends up leaving Nike after 20 years, and while he's a free agent, he actually is still wearing Nike products. Now, the first thing that he did after he became a free agent was he signed a massive 10-year, $300 million deal with Uniqlo. Uniqlo? The brand that makes the really affordable clothing and apparel and socks and stuff like that. Now, the cool thing also about the Uniqlo deal was that it did not include shoes. So Roger Federer was technically still a free agent when it came to shoes. Now, then comes On Running. If you guys are not familiar with On Running, you probably have seen somebody wearing a pair of On Running sneakers, but didn't really know what the brand was because the logo looked kind of funny. But On Running is actually another Switzerland-based company that actually has been making some really dope strides as far as their technology goes in their shoes. They've actually made some really interesting technology primarily for running. Roger Federer, also being from Switzerland, decided to actually invest into the company to a rumored $54 million, but don't quote me on that because some places say it's undisclosed. Other places say that it was like 54 million, but he actually bought a huge stake in the company, and the company ended up going public. When the company went public, they valued it like $11 billion, and they gave Roger his own shoe, which was known as the Roger Pro. Now, the dope thing about the Roger Pro was that it was actually a tennis shoe made and designed by a real tennis player using Swiss engineering. So it actually was one of the best tennis shoes that you could put on your feet for the sport to this day. There's actually a lot of different reviews that I've seen about the on-running Roger Pro, and people have been very, very impressed with the way that it performs on the tennis court. What does Ronnie Fike have to do with this? As we all know, Ronnie Fike, the owner of Kith, a juggernaut in the streetwear game and in the sneaker game, Ronnie Fike has given us some of the most iconic collaborations through his brand Kith that we have seen in quite some time. Everything from the coveted salmon toe Asics to literally a co-branded and co-designed BMW car itself. Ronnie Fike has literally done it all when it comes to collaborations through Kith, when it comes to really establishing himself as kind of a higher tier boutique brand and really pushing the envelope on what collaborations can look like with different industries and streetwear. Now, a lot of people may or may not know that Ronnie Fike is also a huge tennis lover. He's a big fan of the sport, huge fan of Roger Federer, and Roger Federer in turn said that he became a huge fan of Ronnie Fike through his support. They ended up striking up a friendship years ago and would always kind of stay in communication with one another, and Ronnie Fike ended up being so excited when he saw the Roger Pro by On Running, he actually decided to become the global exclusive retailer for the Roger Pro sneaker. So you literally can't get the Roger Pro sneaker at any retailer except for Kith. Well, Roger Federer actually reached out to Ronnie Fike and said that he was so appreciative of the fact that Ronnie was such a big fan of his that he wanted to talk about something special that they could do together as a collaboration and a partnership. And that's what we're seeing in this very special, very limited edition collaborative pack that Roger Federer did with Ronnie Fike and Kith. Let's start with the top of the packaging here. Now, Roger Federer actually has his own logo that was designed by his wife years and years ago. What's really dope was that Roger Federer got to keep the IP rights to his logo. A lot of people really don't get to do that. You guys remember what happened with Kawhi Leonard? He had to sue Nike and still didn't win that case. But Roger Federer actually got to keep his own logo. So what we see here is RF squared. Now, some people are going to call this RF2. What does that mean? Basically, it just means that Ronnie Fike, Roger Federer, same initials. So it's a play on that by using it squared. Of course, in math, anything squared means that it's the same thing multiplied against itself. Now, underneath that, we actually see a tennis court here. So, of course, we're telling the tale of tennis and about their mutual love of tennis, Roger Federer being an iconic tennis player and Ronnie Fike's appreciation of the sport. Now, the box itself, let's get into that a little bit more as well. Now, we see the On Running logo on the side of the box here, but just the colors of the box, you see kind of this clay color mixed in with this brownish kind of dirt color, and that's really the story that's being told. We're going back to Roger Federer's childhood with this collaboration in a really, really dope way. Now, moving to the drawers of the box here, on one side, we see the On logo. On the other side, we see kind of the R here. You have the size 9 here, the Roger RF2 pack. Now, again, my personal size, this was an exclusive raffle that was held in the Kith app. I literally cannot believe that I won the raffle. So when we pull open the top drawer here, the first thing that we're going to notice inside of the top drawer is what looks like a towel, but is actually a drawstring holding bag for the sneakers. So again, you have this really dope drawstring bag here with the RF2 logo, and this actually looks like a leather patch here sewn onto the bag itself, feeling like a microfiber towel, but a really, really dope way to hold your shoes. Now, also, we have a little package here, a little pack here. This is really, really dope. We're actually gonna save this until after we look at the shoe itself. I already know what's in here. Boom. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Roger Pro by On Running for the RF2 pack with Ronnie Fike and Kith. I'm not gonna front. Like, I'm not gonna lie. This is a clean tennis shoe. Like, I'm not gonna lie about that. Like, we've seen some dope looking tennis shoes, like, but it's really not that often that you see a tennis shoe that, like, you could literally see probably somebody rocking this casually. Like, I'm not mad at the shoe itself, and maybe it's because it's minimal. Maybe it's because of all the technology in it where I know it's gonna be super comfortable, but like, this is not a bad looking shoe at all. Let's get into it. All right, now the first thing we're gonna notice is that this shoe is just pretty much in this white leather all along the upper of the shoe. Now, vegan leather on this shoe. Now, vegan leather, I know is kind of a disputed term. Some people just say it's just fake leather, it's just pleather, but basically vegan leather is a type of leather that's treated and softened to feel like regular leather, cowhide leather, but it's not made from a cowhide. I'm not sure what exactly vegan leather is made out of, but they did say vegan leather for the shoes. Now, there's a lot of little call outs and Easter eggs for us to look at here. First things first, on the lateral side of the shoe here, right here in the quarter panel, you're gonna see the Unisphere logo. Now, what's dope is that this Unisphere logo actually corresponds with the O in the On Running logo. So this is actually a collaborative logo that Ronnie Fike did with Kith for this special collaboration. Basically, the Unisphere, if you're not familiar, is a stainless steel earth sculpture that's in Flushing Meadows, Queens, New York, which of course is where Ronnie Fike is from. Now, moving back from the Unisphere logo, you're gonna notice Swiss engineering. We'll talk a little bit about the Swiss engineering that goes into this shoe, but you're also gonna see the call out with the co-branded Kith and Switzerland flag right here as well. So a little call out here, of course, with the co-branding between Kith and of course the Swiss company On Running. Taking a top down look at the shoe here, a few cool things to notice. First things first, you have the On Running logo right here in the corner of the toe box of the shoe. Now, the toe box you're gonna notice is actually a bit wide. That has to do with a lot of tennis shoes. They like this wider forefront of the foot here because it allows for a little bit more flexibility and form when people are moving on the tennis court. Now, moving up from there, you have the white and gray alternate laces. From there, you also have these leather tabs here, right at the top of the tongue here, the RF2 logo. And then of course, you have the Roger Federer and Ronnie Fike for Kith. Now, moving around to the heel of the shoe here, you can't really show one without showing the other, but you have an O on the left foot, an N on the right foot, of course, for On Running. You also have that big On logo on the outsole of the shoe as well, and this big carbon fiber shank plate that says Speedboard right in the midfoot of the shoe. Let's talk a little bit about the technology that is literally packed into this Roger Pro sneaker. Basically, you have three important elements when it comes to the Swiss engineering and technology inside of the On Running sneakers. Number one, you have the Cloud Tech outsole here, which is very soft, very, very comfortable, absorbs a lot of energy, and then releases that energy as you cut and move, of course, on the tennis court. Not only that, but again, you have the Speedboard carbon fiber shank plate here. Now, the Speedboard really acts as a reservoir again for that energy. It absorbs that impact and then kind of holds that impact until you're ready to release it again. However, you also have what's called zero gravity cushioning inside of the midsole of the shoe as well. So you have the zero gravity cushioning that really literally feels like you're on clouds. Once you strike on the ground, that actually is absorbed by that Speedboard shank plate and of course the Cloud Tech cushioning on the outsole. And then when you cut or when you move, it's kind of explosive the way that it releases that energy back out into wherever you're moving to. So this sneaker and the way that it's engineered literally is a marvel when it comes to the technology inside of it. Like, some of the companies in America could probably learn a thing or two from what On Running is doing. And again, it's a running company, right? So it makes a lot of sense why they have all this cloud technology and Speedboard and stuff like that, because there's a lot of running, obviously, involved in tennis. All right, enough the technical stuff. Let's get back to the shoe. Now, remember I told you guys we were going to talk about this here? Let's get into what this is actually. So when you open up this little pouch here, you're gonna see a little bag that has some clay in it. Not only that, but you're actually also going to get a little booklet with instructions on what to do with that clay. Remember when I told you guys that the box actually looked like it was a little bit of red clay mixed in with a little bit of dirt? They literally included a little package of clay that you could literally use to rub into the shoe if you wanted to do that, to make the sneaker look like it had been played on a clay tennis court. Now, here's the really important thing about clay tennis courts. If you learn how to play on clay, you can play on the harder surfaces that a lot of American tennis players are kind of born and bred to play on. Now, that's the reason why people who tend to play on clay courts, like Roger Federer grew up playing on clay courts, tend to perform a little bit better, because clay courts, according to people in the tennis world, are a lot more difficult to hone your game on. It teaches you a lot more tennis IQ, and it teaches you how to manipulate the ball, because the ball doesn't move quite the same, it doesn't spin quite the same, and it absorbs a little bit differently. So playing on a clay court actually slows down your tennis game, and it actually forces you to be a lot more calculated and a lot more defensive. So it's really fly that they incorporated that both in the visuals for the campaign for this pack of them him playing on a clay court over in Switzerland, and they actually literally included a little bag of clay that you can incorporate yourself into rubbing on the shoe to give the sneaker a more authentic look. But you might not want to do that, and this is why. All this time I've been showing you guys the right shoe like I normally do, but the left shoe is a bit more special and probably a reason why they won't be getting worn, because the left shoe literally has a hand-signed autograph by Ronnie Fike himself. Now, these were rumored to be only 300 packs of this special 2-pack that we haven't even looked at the second shoe yet, but as I mentioned, to cap off the Roger Pro shoe, you have a hand-signed autograph from Mr. Ronnie Fike himself. So Ronnie, salute, thank you for the autograph. Very, very dope. This is literally something that you would put in a display case, but these ain't getting worn anywhere. I mean, unless you guys are wearing autographed sneakers, but I'm not. Now to cap it off, the shoe again comes with those gray and white laces, but you also get 2 extra sets of laces. You get a white set of laces here, and then you also get a yellow set of laces that I think the lace tips are really dope because it says "Put Me On" with the little On Running logo on the lace tips as well. So really, really dope little touch here with the extra laces. And that's literally just one pair of the shoes in this 2-pair pack. So let's take a little deeper look at the second pair that of course comes with its own microfiber terry cloth drawstring carrying bag. Let's get into it. Boom. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Roger Clubhouse Mid by On Running for the RF2 pack. And yes, to start it off, not only did we get the autograph from Ronnie Fike on the Roger Pro, we also got the Roger Federer autograph, hand signed by Roger Federer himself, the legend himself, on the Clubhouse Mid. I mean, what? So let's get into the Clubhouse Mid a little bit. Now the Clubhouse Mid, first of all, feels a ton lighter than the Roger Pro. This shoe feels like they literally took out like half the weight. It's very, very, very light here. But again, it's more of a lifestyle sneaker. The Roger Pro was more of an active sneaker, more of a functional shoe. This still features some of the same technology in it, like the Cloud Tech and the speed board in the shoe as well, but it definitely is more geared towards lifestyle. It's a mid-top sneaker. It's giving kind of a similar silhouette to a lot of popular mid-top sneakers that we've seen. Now, this, of course, was an all-white colorway, but this actually was rubbed with the clay that you had the option of rubbing onto the Roger Pro. This sneaker actually is made to represent Roger Federer's childhood when he used to be a ball boy on those clay courts back in Switzerland before he really started making a name for himself in tennis. So this sneaker is very near and dear to Roger, the Roger Pro being more near and dear to Ronnie Fike. But of course, you have the On logo right here in the quarter panel, Swiss engineering once again on the lateral heel, the Roger kind of embossed there on the lateral collar. This clay, this is real clay. It's literally like rubbing off on my hands while I'm showing y'all this shoe. Taking the top down, look at the shoe here. Nothing really special to talk about there. Same laces, they say "Put Me on the lace tips here. A little emblem here for On Running on the tongue as well, little leather tag. On the back of the shoe there, you have kind of the R+ for the Roger. And on the outsole, you can see it has that Cloud Tech technology. It actually has a little cloud, I believe, right about there with that speed board, full-length speed board. It looks like running throughout the shoe as well on the outsole. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the Roger Federer and Ronnie Fike RF2 Kith 2-pack that recently released in support of the Roger Pro release as well. Now, I believe they also came out with some exclusive colorways in the Roger Pro, like a white and blue. I believe a white and black dropped a little while ago, but this right here is super special. Now, as I mentioned, there are no indicators of how many packs there were on this. These are not individually numbered. So again, it was rumored that these were 300 packs only. Wouldn't surprise me if they had to hand sign each one of these. So I'm sure there weren't a ton of these made. And honestly, for a $550 price tag, that's right, this pack costs $550 retail price. It's actually a bit of a bargain when you consider the fact that you get 2 incredible sneakers from On Running from Roger Federer, a hand-signed signature from Roger Federer, plus an autograph from Ronnie Fike himself. So you're getting a lot with this package here. In my opinion, is it worth the money? 100%. Can't believe that I even got this. When I got the notification that my entry was secured and that I actually got the charge for this, number one, I was like, what in the world did I just spend $560 on? But then when I realized what it was, I was like, oh, I got really excited about it. Never had a pair of On Running sneakers, never saw myself owning a pair of On Running sneakers in my collection. And now I've got 2, and what is quite possibly one of the prized possessions, one of the crown jewels of my sneaker collection. So salute to Ronnie Fike and what he's doing with Kith. Salute to Roger Federer and his incredible career, his incredible accomplishments, and the legendary things that he's done both on and off the court. I mean, I could go on and on with this, but we have gone on long enough. I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me, taking a deep look at both of these sneakers. Now it's time for you guys to sound off down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about the RF Squared pack by Ronnie Fike, Kith, and Roger Federer. Did you guys try to grab these? Did you go out for the raffle? Did you catch the L? Or were you one of the lucky ones to be able to get your hands on this iconic pack that we probably will never see again? I'd like to tell you guys to just go on to your favorite StockX and go to get your hands on these if you missed out. But I'm not gonna lie, prices on these are looking kind of crazy. I've seen everything from $1,500 to $3,000 for this pack. And I get it. I mean, my goodness, double signatures here with these shoes that tell this incredible story. I'm sorry, but I'm not mad at it. So hopefully you guys were able to cop at retail price. Of course, right down in the comments, make sure that you click on that subscribe button so we can welcome you into the Sneaker Fetish family to make sure you don't miss out on any more heat that comes through like these, because I guarantee you, I got a lot more heat on the way. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Sneaker Fetish, taking a look at these with me, unboxing this incredible package with me. I go by the name of Kari. This is the Roger Pro, autographed by Ronnie Fike. This is the Roger Clubhouse Mid, autographed by Roger Federer. And until next time, I'm out.